Welcome to Series 4, Episode 1. It's a new series because I feel like each series kind of corresponds to a different chapter of my life, right? Now, I started Series 3 with good intentions and then ended up going through separation, going through divorce. So that kind of put a spanner in the works. That quite literally put a cat amongst all of the pigeons of my mind. Anyone that has been through some kind of anyone that's been through some kind of breakup probably understands what that's like, right? So yeah, after obviously 15 years together, 5 years married, we split up about 8 months ago. And then I've been dating. I've been everything I do is all or nothing, right? If I do it properly, or I don't do it at all, basically. Unfortunately, that's just my vibe. Once I get my teeth into something, I'm obsessed with it until I'm not anymore, or I just continue to be obsessed with it. So, dating has been hit very hard, no pun intended. And the stuff that comes up in dating, the insecurities, the as well as other stuff, right? The validation, the confidence, as well as other stuff like the ego. And it's been a wild ride, which I can't catch you up on with just one episode. But I will elaborate over the coming weeks. However, during that time, right, of ups and downs, there's been some real darkness. There's been some real absolute buzz. There's been some fun adventures. I've done loads of stuff, loads of dates, you name it. I've done it: shuffleboard, crazy golf, snowboarding, all sorts of stuff, right? Road trips. I've done all sorts of things in the last 8 months, actually, to be honest. I think when you go through a change like this, especially for me, who has lived my entire life for my kids, which I'm so totally happy about. But now they're a bit older, 18, 13 and 9. They don't require as much from me. I still see them a lot, obviously. We still go to the park every day. We still go cinema and days out and all of that stuff. But there's also large chunks of time, right, where you know, and especially co-parenting, there's more time to myself. And I spent so much of my time, without knowing this, hoping that if I could give my ex-wife everything, it would make her happy. And if she was happy, I would finally get the love and the intimacy and the adoration and the praise that I was looking for. I kind of basically hoped that one day she would show me the love that I felt like I needed. I didn't quite realise how deep that run, right? Because we do tend to go for the love we think we deserve, or we go for the love that mimics the kind of love that we received as kids, right? So for me, that inconsistent love, never kind of quite feeling good enough, feeling like you need to earn it, is how I felt growing up. And without knowing it, that's what fed into my relationship. And I just hoped that one day, you know, I would be good enough, and I'd be good enough at communication, or I'd know her love languages enough, or I'd give her enough money, or the house would be big enough, or we'd have enough holidays for her to eventually turn around and, you know, give me the love that I was always looking for. Turns out that's a losing battle. And those patterns will play out in dating as well. If you're single or dating, you're going to see a lot of unconscious patterns playing out where what you think and what you do can be very, very different things. Anyway, so during that time, I tell you what, I am so thankful that I know what I know. If I didn't know what I knew, if I didn't have the understanding of thoughts, emotions, processing emotions, somatic processing, journaling, I'd probably be in a mental hospital, I'm sure of it. I literally would be in a straitjacket somewhere, bouncing off the padded walls. I've been so grateful to myself and the people I've learned from. I always have my own coach or my own therapist of some description, always, because I'm always learning. I'm always looking to develop myself, my ability, my self-awareness, work through patterns, work through trauma, work through emotions. I'm very fortunate in the sense that my best friend does the same job. Some of you will know because we also work together as well in another project, Superhuman. We've done events and stuff together, so that always helps. If I did not have this understanding or this ability or the tools to process and work through, because so much has come up for me: anger, resentment, frustration, regret, guilt. That's just in terms of leaving the relationship, leaving the marriage. So much has come up in terms of, obviously, with the kids and feeling guilty, feeling like I should have just carried on for a few more years until they're a bit older. Fear that I'm going to mess them up, obviously having to communicate with them, telling them I've been through a lot in my life, and if you listen to all of the podcasts, you'll know the extent of crap that I've experienced, but nothing is worse than telling the kids. That was the most horrific experience ever. But so without the understanding I have, I don't even know where I'd be. I really do not know. And I've worked with a lot of clients in the past, right, that are going through something similar, and they've come to me. And one client has started with me 6 weeks ago because he's also going for a breakup after 9 years. And for him, the tendency was to turn to drugs and alcohol and stuff. And he knew he couldn't afford to do that. You know, he knew that was going to be a road to nowhere. He needed to stay focused on the gym, stay focused on his business, you know, use this as a platform to grow and become better and become more, and consciously create the next chapters of his life, not go into a downward spiral, which would be so easy to do. So anyone going through that kind of experience, it really lends an opportunity, firstly, to work through the crap. It's hard, and you're gonna have some down days, you're gonna have some loneliness, you're gonna have sadness, anger, frustration. Sometimes you don't even know how you feel, right? Sometimes you just feel like you're just trying to get through the day. And then you're gonna have the ups and the buzz and the excitement. If you're dating, there's a lot of that comes into it, but then all sorts of stuff comes up, right? But you can really use difficult times like this to learn and grow and evolve, and use it as a springboard for something new, whether that's a new job, or whether that's, you know, the ending of a relationship, or being made redundant, or losing your job, or moving, or whatever it is, right? It really lends itself, it can lend itself. Obviously you can go away, like a lot of people do, and I'm not going to mention who might be doing this, and don't take any responsibility, don't work on themselves, don't change, don't grow, don't evolve, and then just repeat the same patterns in every relationship in the future, right? That's not me, and if you're listening to this, that's not you either, I'm sure. We're the kind of people that go away and go, okay, fine, I'm not going to take the blame, but what can I take responsibility for? What can I learn? What can I grow from? You know, how do I evolve? What do I want next? Who do I need to be in order to have those things? For the first time ever, 8 months ago, 9 months ago, however long it was, I asked myself, what does James want? And I swear to you, I literally cried. I actually cried, like, full on. Being sad and crying is something that in the last 2 years is only something I've allowed myself to be okay with. You know, how ridiculous does that sound? The emotion of sadness or tears, which are a very normal human response. You can't feel that, James. That would be weak. Like, don't be a pussy. Like, so ridiculous. But honestly, because I hadn't really asked myself that question. You know, I've been a dad since I was 18, and then like early 20s, then I had 2 more kids, right? And then married and supporting the family, supporting Jenna for 10 years. She didn't work for 10 years, you know, kind of thing. All the pressure of that, just doing what you need to do. It's the first time I stopped and was like, what does James want now? You know, which is a really cool question. But anyway, also the gym, I train 7 days a week. You don't have to lift, you know, you really don't. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I'm a massive advocate for especially at 35, you can look really awesome, get in incredible shape. I'm stronger now than I've ever been, in better shape than I've ever been, working out less than I ever have. But the reason I go 7 times is because I really enjoy it, and I've a lot of my support structure is there, really, because I talk to everyone. And 4 of those days, 4 of those days are cardio, 3 of those days are cardio. And sometimes I change that out for like snowboarding lessons or going for a long walk or something. But ultimately I go there because I love it. But in terms of the actual training, it's much more efficient. But the same thing is true for me about the gym, right? If you listen to all my podcasts, whilst I've focused on mindset and thoughts and emotions and spirituality, it's no secret that if I had to give up the gym or personal development, that would not be an easy decision for me. I actually think I'd have to give up personal development because the gym has been my core therapy since I was 15. I've always felt better when I go. I wake up, my mind is busy, it's chaotic. My morning routine, get to the gym. In the gym, I get a bit of a buzz. I listen to music. I chat to people. I flirt with people now, maybe. I get that kind of bromance with the dudes. I flirt mainly with the older ladies and just talk to the people my age. The older ladies are the best. I always feel better once I train. I always feel like I've achieved something. Even if the day goes to shit, I've done something. It starts my day off well. I love it. And then I love how I feel, right? I love how I look. I love how I feel. I love how I feel in clothes. I'm a massive advocate for that. If I could gift anyone anything, I would gift them the same love for training that I have. And I really just don't believe you can feel at your best if you're not physically in the shape you want to be in. I just don't think you can. I've been in pain. I've had elbow tendonitis. I've had neck pain. This is why I started training with less volume and doing more mobility, lifting less. But I've changed my training style in line with the latest science about 9-10 months ago. Being in pain is crap. It's so shit. Not being able to do what you want to do is shit. You know, I can't imagine what it would feel like dating if I wasn't confident and wasn't able to just get naked and be like, woo, like, here we are, you know, let alone the compliments and the affection. And I've always just got so much from feeling strong, moving well, being pain-free, you know, be able to go trampolining with the kids, snowboarding, skiing, cycling, climbing trees, play football, doing stupid crap on like the rings and stuff with Rosie, etc. I'm a massive advocate for being. I've always been a massive advocate for holistic health, right? Mind, body, and soul. I just think we often focus on one and ignore the others, you know, or we focus on one life domain. You know, we work on business or our job or our career, and it's like, yeah, we've got money, but we look like a bin bag full of coleslaw. We feel like shit. We're in pain. We can't sleep. We're stressed, and we don't have sex. You know, because I don't know, we've got a crap relationship or something, or we're single and we don't have time to go and date. You know, it's weird how and it is hard though. Like balancing it all is hard, and I think that's where it comes down to values and what do you value and what do you appreciate and what do you want, and in what quantities do they look like. Which reminds me of a conversation I had with a client yesterday. We were talking about, I love it when that phrase, if you want to know what's important to someone, look at their bank account and look at their calendar. Because that will tell you what's important. If you say your health's important, but you're not buying supplements, you've not got a gym membership, you're not investing in some kind of coaching, it's not important to you. If you say getting in shape is important to you, but in your diary there's no gym sessions in there, or no walking, or no yoga, or no whatever it is you want to do, right? Well, then it's not important to you. I'm sorry to break it to you, but they don't lie. You think it's important, obviously isn't, right? You know, and we're all guilty of that. It's like if people say they want to change, but yet there's no therapy or coaching, they're not reading any books, they're not listening to podcasts, they're not listening to audiobooks, they're not watching anything on YouTube. Well, then you're lying to yourself. Like, you're bullshitting yourself. Like, you will see what's important to yourself by where are you putting your time and where are you putting your energy and where are you putting your money. Now, if you're listening to this, then that already says you're investing some of your time into some form of personal growth, personal development, which is really fucking cool, right? I respect that. I appreciate that as well and love that for you. Anyway. So with that said, obviously the name of the podcast changed last year and it's going to stay that way, you know, mindset and muscle, because to me, that's what I'm a big advocate for. I've always been a big advocate for that. I probably haven't always owned that fully. I have in my own life, 100%, but probably not always in my work. And I want to talk about that, all things mind, body and soul, because for me they all go hand in hand. They really, really do. You know, we are a soul having a human experience, but we're also a human kind of having a soul experience. I think we ignore either one of those at our peril. I think if we think we're a human having a human experience and we neglect our soul, I think we feel like something's missing. I think we feel stressed. Life feels sometimes nihilistic, meaningless, shit, stressful. Everything's so serious. You know, if we focus on us being a soul, having a human experience, but we neglect our body, we're going to be in pain. We're going to be getting triggered. Our nervous system's going to be dysregulated. We're not sleeping. I know I'm a soul having a human experience, right? But give me 2 hours sleep and I'm a miserable bastard. And I can't even feel a shred of happiness. So I think we have to pay attention to more mind-based personal development, you know, journal questions, you know, thoughts, journaling, yeah, things like that, things that calm us, calm our nervous system, meditation, getting enough sleep, afternoon naps, having a nappuccino, having a coffee, then having a nap is a total win. You know, focus on our body as well, movement, walking. I mean, who doesn't go for a walk and feel better afterwards, right? We can see that, and we could even talk about the neuroscience behind that, but moving, getting in shape, keeping those commitments to yourself, you're going to feel better for it. And then finally, in terms of soul, this is where we go a bit more kind of esoteric, a bit deeper into that place I talk about a lot. That grounded peacefulness, that quietness underneath all the noise that you might only feel when you're on holiday after 3 days and everything settles down. You might feel it an hour into driving when a song just hits. You might feel it mid-gym session where you're just so intensely present and everything just feels nice. You might feel it when stood at the top of a mountain or looking out over a lake. You might see it in those moments where you get intensely present with your kids and you just get that real nice feeling of pure presence and wholeness. You might get it, I've had it in so many capacities, but you might get it dating, you might get it during sport. You might find it normally comes with stillness though. I normally find nature and walking and moments of stillness is when it generally tends to come in. Moments of peacefulness, which is why you'll see me in a hammock sometimes. And that matters too, because there's something about that feeling that makes us feel whole. It makes us feel complete. It makes us feel like there's nowhere to go and there's nothing to get to. And suddenly you just think, why so serious? You realise everything you were stressing about really ain't that deep, bro, as the kids say. You think, why was I stressed? Why was I stressing over that? And you get those moments of clarity. Suddenly everything makes sense, or it becomes obvious what you need to do, or your problems don't seem as big. When you get those, you know, the whisperings of your soul in those moments of silence, they're so subtle but yet so clear. And again, neglect any one of those three things at your own peril, at your own detriment. So I will be talking about all three of those things. If you want the more specific stuff around training, then you're probably better off going to my Instagram, because I don't really want to take up this time talking about reps and, you know, reps in reserve and volume specifics and stuff. Just go to my Instagram. It's the same Instagram. It's James_mindset and muscle. The link will be on here somewhere anyway. So if you want the specifics of training, message me on there. Look at my content. If you need help in that area, message me. But I will continue to use this podcast more for the mindset stuff, the soul stuff, the somatic stuff, the nervous system stuff, the neuroscience stuff. The same as it's always been, really. But just know that if you are someone that wants to get in awesome shape and, you know, need the accountability or the structure in order to do that, that is something I now offer and have done for about a year now, actually. But also there are coaching slots available. So if you've wanted to speak to me in the past, if you wanted to jump on the phone, you want some life coaching, compassionate inquiry, somatic therapy, root cause therapy, these are all things I do. That's available as well. I'll probably put a link to book a call in here somewhere, Or again, find me on Instagram. That's where I hang out these days. Find me on Instagram and drop me a message. And I can talk to you about what that looks like. I always give the first call. If I think I can help you, I give the first call for free anyway. And then we can just make sure we actually connect, that I can help you, that we get each other, that you because that's important, right? I think that's what stops a lot of us having some kind of therapy or coaching, because we've had it in the past and we've had someone we just don't resonate with, someone that just doesn't get us, someone that we just can't see ourselves speaking to, or even we don't even get that far because you're so apprehensive about who you're going to end up sat on the phone to that you're just like, you just put it off, you know. Whereas if I'm someone you listen to and I'm someone you think, actually, I could see myself speaking to this guy. I could see he sounds like he gets it, and I think he could help. Well, then awesome news for you, because I have, I think I probably mentioned this, but I got out of the event business after so stressful. My beard went bald, and I realised it was so not aligned to who I was. I've literally got rid of everything. I've simplified everything. My life is literally just coaching now, which is back where I belong. No distractions. No other shit taking up my time or attention. This is my pure focus now. Has been now for... I say my pure focus. Has been now for about a year, but dating was very much a distraction and divorce was very much a distraction. However, I'm now going to take you on the journey of what I've learned in that time. But thankfully, finally, back in a place of kind of reflection and groundedness, and my coaching business is growing again. Those slots are disappearing quite quickly, which I'm massively appreciative of. But yeah, if you've ever kind of sat on the fence, now might be the time, because I don't like doing more than 2 calls a day, to be honest, because it's quite tiring. Burns my brain out. I learned that the hard way when I was doing 5 calls a day and wondered why I wasn't really enjoying my life anymore. Learned my lesson the hard way, but yeah, 2-3 calls a day, probably 2 to be fair. So if you want to jump in, now is the time. Find me on Instagram. I'll put the link in the description of the podcast, maybe the description of this actual podcast. I'll probably put a link for booking a call as well. Let's do that. Anyway, I will endeavour to do this weekly. I will talk to you about, somatic stuff. I'll talk to you about all sorts of... I've got some stories from dating. I've had all sorts of insights. It'll be all the usual stuff, essentially, but probably some funny stories to share along the way, as always. Anyway, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you listening. If you haven't left me a like on Spotify, please do that, because then I can validate myself and tell myself if I'm a good boy. Or if you're... I think this is on Amazon and also Apple Podcasts. And I think it's also streaming into my YouTube channel now as well. Technology is so much better these days. My life is much easier. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling. Good to be back. Good to have you back. And I will speak to you soon.